audience.
Have you cut anything yet
Yeah,
from your
I
half?
have.
And how long did those shows take to get cut, basically?
You know, some of them, a couple of them I've looked at and they're just sort of bouncing around. Some were not the right business model. You know, one was an acquired show that just was not consistent and it wasn't delivering an audience. I mean, I'm also a big believer of when you do a program, whatever, or media property, you got to be consistent. You got to tell people what they're going to get. You got to deliver on that every episode, and you got to deliver it at the time that people expect. And so we had an acquired show that really wasn't doing that. It was all over the map, and you know, so again, it wasn't giving us the kind of traffic. I wasn't seeing the trend that I liked.
Let's talk about another monetization model that you use, which is paid members for the Dig Nation, where they get the episodes a few days early, and that's the benefit of being a paid member. Has that worked for you?
It has worked in the past. Paid membership really helped Revision 3 in the early phases of its life when you know, there wasn't a lot of money coming in through advertising, and the company needed to stay afloat. Now that we've been lucky enough to, it's a double-edged sword, but receive some venture funding, we have the ability to try and grow our audience. And you know, I think you've seen us with the memberships really sort of start to, although I love that people are members, we've sort of shortened the Dig Nation window. So it used to be we'd release Dig Nation on Saturday to members, and then Tuesday to not members. Well, now we release Dig Nation to members on Friday afternoon, and then to everybody else on Saturday night. So I see that compression continuing to happen, and I see us doing things for people who want to help support Revision 3 and want to feel more a part of it. That will be other things in addition to that. And so we did this thing, the Revision 3 Gazette, which is kind of this behind the scenes. We did it for members only. So we realized it was pretty darn good. I mean, Sarah Lane did this great job on it. It was really fun and exciting and interesting. And we said, you know, we got to give this to everybody. We want to grow our audience. And so we did do that. So memberships were great for us in the past. And we're kind of still feeling our way through what their place is now.
There's a lot of businesses right now, though, that are saying our model's advertising. I mean, you see a lot of people coming out and saying everything's going to be free, it's going to be advertising. And yet, to some extent, that's a finite pool of dollars, I guess, or maybe it's not.
$65 billion of finite pool. I'll take a little of that, right? I mean, there's a lot of finite pool to go around.
Well, will it be that, you know, it's kind of the 80-20 rule, or maybe even the 95-5 rule, where 95% of the money goes to the big online networks, and then?
I'm glad you looked at us when you said that. I think, yeah, you know, I think you'll see some consolidation. I mean, the numbers that I've seen say that online video, and I'm not going to be exact with this, was around, you know, $300 or $400 million in 2006. It's going to grow to $2 or $3 billion in 2010. And yeah, you're going to see big media properties sucking up a fair amount of that. But look at where the eyeballs want to go. Just as we saw in magazines and newspapers as they moved to the web, where all of a sudden there are blogs and there are all sorts of places that people are going that are not controlled by the sort of narrow, large media, I think you'll see the same thing happen here. It's a great opportunity for a company like Revision 3 to grow and build and have people, you know, and grow eyeballs. But there's enough opportunity for a lot of different people. And I also think on the monetization side, when you're small and starting to grow, there are great ad networks out there that get what you're doing that can really help. Once you get bigger, then you can start bringing in your own people. So we've been using Federated Media for the last really year, I guess, 2 years. They've been a great partner. Federated has done an awesome job bringing in some of our biggest advertisers and really helping to position us out there. But we're kind of in that transition space now where, you know, Federated's great and they're going to continue to do great stuff for us, but I'm starting to bring in some of our own internal ad people because we've just reached the point where that's important for us. So the good thing is that even if you're small and growing, there are people who can help you bring revenue in the door.
I was going to say, you're hiring sales reps now. It seems like most people are starting out with a network, and then when they get large enough, are they transitioning and bringing in their own sales team?
Yeah,
and
I think that's the right model.
Okay.
At least it seems that way now. Again, we're still trying everything, and what works we'll keep doing, what doesn't work we'll stop doing.
Most of the hosts, it seems now, they have other ventures that are their day job, if you will, and are making their money. Do you see a time when all of us can make a living doing this? Is there enough dollars out there that individuals, independent mini media companies can make a living doing this?
I think there's enough dollars and enough eyeballs that certainly really good people can do it, but you've got to look beyond just the audio or the video product that you're producing. And I was in a session yesterday with the Grammar Girl, And she was talking, this is a great point, and that how important her website was. And so she was talking about it, and I went online and looked at it. It's like this beautiful website. I mean, it's gorgeous. It does a great job talking about what the product is and how to look at it and all the different pieces and the sort of quick and dirty tips. And then I was talking to another guy last night who has a great product, but it's 98% distributed through iTunes. And I think that if you're just relying on iTunes and subscriptions and your product out there and not building all those other pieces of it, you're less likely to be able to make a living at it. If you build up a great website that helps people sample, you have additional products, whether it's audio books or physical books or things like that, that's going to be a way to drive success. And it'll be interesting to see what the Ask a Ninja guys say tomorrow about this, because they also work with I think they work with Federated. They have done a really good job with add-on products. And Ask a Ninja is tremendous, but they've got also all these add-on products that bring in more money. And so you've got to think of yourselves not, I'm an audio podcast or a video show, but I am a media company, a micro media company or a mini media company, and I'm doing all these different things around this core that I'm producing.
Are you thinking about that? Are you thinking about merchandising? Are we going to see Kevin and Alex bobblehead dolls and pillowcases? And I mean, is that something you've talked about?
Well, Kevin and Alex pillowcases. The mind.
I don't know why that came to mind.
We do have some stuff set up with shirts and hoodies and things like that. We're actually really trying to find out how to do Kevin and Alex beer openers, Dignation beer openers, which it's really kind of hard to get bottle openers at Smith. I don't know why. But you'll see more of that over time for us. But the most important thing for us right now is to grow our audience. So we have, it's a double-edged sword, but we're lucky enough to have enough money in the bank to be able to spend the next year and a half or so growing our audience. And if we don't scale our audience so it's really big and we have a bunch of shows delivering a lot of traffic, we're not going to be successful. Because once we do that, I feel like the money's going to follow. Other people out there, folks have different models. I've got this great thing, I'm building a good audience. How do you monetize that audience and get more out of them? And that's important.
Are show producers coming to you and pitching you on the idea of having their show? And if that's the case, do you split ownership of the show, or how does that work?
Yeah, we talk to people all the time about their ideas. And generally the way I like to structure the deals with them is, we try it out. And we both have sort of a 30-day out if it doesn't work. And if we start to show some traction, then we start talking about a longer-term contract and say, okay, look, this is good. Let's do a one-year deal with, or a two-year deal or whatever. And if we start going below certain levels, either of us can drop out. But in addition to that, it's like, okay, we're going to pay you X amount per episode. And as it scales and as the revenue scales, we'll cut you in for a % of the net revenue of that show. What I think is really important is that, A, it puts the risk on both of us. We're both incented to grow the show. And for the producer, there's enough money to actually get the product done, but they're really going to start to see the payout when we start reaching above that $100,000 a month and scale up to $500,000 a month. And when they get to that point, it's on us to sell it so we make enough money, because their show payments will scale a little bit, but then when we get a really big audience, we bring the advertising in, then it starts to be good for everybody. And our model